Right on. Hello everybody, welcome to Stonx Music. We're back in Studio 2. You're here with me, Ollie. Hello. I'm just, I don't know, for anyone that doesn't know, we like to split all of our sessions up to sound design, experimenting, messing about, and then music production as a whole different thing. If any of you guys watch my walkthrough for Plague Doctors, you'll notice in that track we used quite a few just standard plugins and presets. Unfortunately, when you're making music, that's what happens. If you've not put the work in beforehand, and you've got an idea in your head, you just want to get it out, you always end up using a preset and being lazy. So we like to do these sessions now. Probably just be an hour, mess around. I might come up with something useful, I might not. So hopefully you'll learn a few little techniques, a few little things that I do. Let's just jump in and get started. Oh, another thing I might as well just say, this is our default template. I use it, Ashima uses it, and we both use it when we're doing Stonx stuff. All of our drums rooted, and then everything else has our side chains, bass, pads, SFX, and then we like to keep the subs separate. And then these guys, there's also rooting here. None of that's done at the moment, apart from the drums, to our return channels. None of that really matters today. We're just going to be having a mess around and trying to make some noise. So we're at 172. That's a pretty good start. I'm just going to grab a big note. I'll probably go for G1 is what I usually do. Drag it out, and I might, oh no, we'll drag it, make it a long one. Loop it. Nice. So I'll move that onto Serum and let's have a little mess around. Nasty. Okay, let's start. Nice. Nice bit of movement. Get down an octave with the sub. Let's add some more noise. Where's this guy going? Oh, let's do some of this. Back to this first one. I don't like that being so plump. Right, let's slow this guy down to bar and make something, get a few little rhythms, little something going here. Yeah, so we've got kind of a cool little sound going there. I'm just going to set my pitch bends up and down. And let's start adding some automation into this bad boy. Open this up. Pitch bend. And there's no particular order to what I'm doing here. I'm just messing around trying to get some cool movements. Hold shift if you guys want to get real fine with your movements. You see here, I can actually get it back on the 0. There we go. Knock a bunch of 0 points in so I don't have to do that again. And keeps me on pitch. Something like that, which is a bit of movement, a bit of something. So LFO5 here seems to be doing quite a lot of that movement, so I'm going to open up Serum here, configure LFO5 rate, and then that gives us right click, show automation, pop that guy in a new lane. And again, we can just kind of go a bit mad with this stuff. It's just an experimental session. Turn this off, let's go. See what we got. See, some of that's useful, some of that sounded like a bit of a mess. I'm just going to Z back to here. I quite like this bit. And then we kind of want to go back there. Something. Let's see what else we can configure. I'm thinking this bend for some reason. I don't know why. Just go for it. Auto automation, chuck it in a new lane, let's see what we get. Oh, that was accidental, but I love it. Right, let's see what that is. Cool. Something weird there, right? Maybe we had a bit of noise. I want something a bit rattly rather than smoky. Like that, clippy bits. Right, now usually I'm destructive bugger, I just right click freeze track, but for the sake of preserving some of this, I'm going to create a new audio track, resample, solo that, arm that, turn that one off, and we'll just record it down. Cool, so let's grab this guy, rename G1 Wobbly Boy, Control J that. So this is, in its simplest form, what I would call a mud pie. It's a bunch of stuff that we can use to make something out of. Now I'm probably going to take it further in a minute, but just to kind of show you the idea, this is what I'll be doing with it. I'll be making a song, I kind of want something that wobs. I'll go through all of my samples, and that's a nice bit. For instance, we got some. Start cutting it up into an arrangement. It's like our 1, 3, 1, and then we need some guy for the end. And that's just an idea. That's not very good, but that's what I'll be doing with it eventually. So next step I'd take, again, I'll do this just for the sake so we can kind of keep an idea of what's going on. I'll move it to, move you back here. Move you down to a new audio track. So I'll go in. I have spent a lot of time, here we go, AAA Ollie stuff, effects. I spent a lot of time building these racks to save me time in the future. So here's all of my bass effects I use. I mean, there's other things I do, but this is a good set of tools I use. We'll have a look at a couple of them. Corpus splitter, this is a nice kind of metallic thing going on. Listen what that does. separate things happening here. So let's copy this guy over here. Yeah. This top one. Now we've got loads of space in that top end. Let's come back to my guys over here. Fat and tidy. It's a saturator and some weird old EQ. These guys at the end, Neurosine. The idea behind this guy, the Neurosine compressor, we've got this first EQ with our growl set here to this frequency range, 130 to 1K roughly, and then we've got our reject going from 300 to about 7.5. So same as before, right click, show automation, put it in a new lane just so we don't get confused. Right click, show automation, put it in a new lane. Again, we're just going to turn off, grab our B and draw some random stuff. And now this doesn't have to be random. If you have an idea in mind that you're trying to get at, kind of like this rum, you know, you know, you draw it in rum, so you make this noise. So you want it to go rum, and then maybe this do the same. This one go up, that one come down. After this, it's being compressed. Back with that other bit that we separated. Now we've got. Put this high ring in. It's a bit much. Might turn this one off. And we got. Same thing as before, we're going to resample on this track. Put this guy here. Record it out. Is that better for the mic? Hello? Is that any better for the microphone? Hopefully it is. I turned it down because the missus is running around in the background doing stuff. Oh bollocks, I didn't actually record that. Right, let's go again. Is that better again? I might have to adjust my OBS settings. Woohoo! Thank you very much, Saijo. Or Saijo, you said that before, didn't you? Sorry. Right, G1. Wobbly boy. I'm quite happy with that now, so I'm going to come over here to my Neurobase 1's already come out, so I'll come over to Neurobase 2, grab my wobbly boy, drop him in there, bam. It's as simple as that. Now if I'm writing a track and I want some big old G wobbly boy, I'll grab this guy in. Simples. So that was starting with Serum. I do this quite often, just a nice bit of sampling or whatever. Nice bit of synthesis, sorry. But the other way to do this is sampling. So I'm not ashamed of using samples. I love it. I spend half of my time collecting weird old funk samples and things. Let's see what we got. Let's grab this guy. Righto, so let's have a look at here. We've got some more like this. Right, let's take that. Bump. 4-bar it. Straight away it's too short, right? So we'll grab a reverb, chuck it on. Dry wet time's going to automate to turn the reverb up as the sound goes away. Decay time up. Cool. Grab Echo. It's another one I love. A lot of these things in Ableton, people don't find this out just because they don't experiment enough. Right click everything. There's so many more little options here when you right click stuff. Echo doesn't have it. Let me go simple delay. Things got changed in 10. Simple delay, here we go. Right click, we've got repitch, jump or fade mode. Repitch is my favorite. So we'll turn, rather than 4, we'll go to sync, link, turn it right down. You can hear kind of that metallic slapback sound. Now automating our time, you bring it up, it's going to pitch it down because it's taking longer to repeat the samples, and if you pitch it up, it's going to bring it up because it's repeating the samples quicker. So I'll do the same thing here. It starts kind of fading out near that end, so we'll just boost the dry wet. Let's see where that ends nicely. Let's say about there. Bring that down. So I'm going to do the same again. New audio track. Nope, that's a new MIDI track. New audio track. Resample, bam, bam, come over here. Volume, that's a bit quiet, let's bring it up. Now, I don't know what note that was because I just took it from a random thing. So there's a few things we can do here. Grab your tuner, chuck that on, see if it picks up a note. Which it didn't, I kind of didn't expect it to. Second thing we can do is grab EQ or your spectrum analyzer and have a look at the dominant frequency. see down here, that's a G sharp. So just to keep everything in continuity, I'm going to go down one transpose there, rename that to G riser, Control J just to consolidate it all. Now let me double check that here, it should now be a G instead of a G. So same thing again, we're going to come in here, it's not going to go in my basses, it's going to go in my SFX. G riser, bam. And save. Right, so what should we have a look at next? That's some impacts and bass. I mean, bass is the most fun really, isn't it? Let's try and break stuff. I'm a fan of that. Control Shift T, get a new MIDI track. Let's go for Serum again because I like a bit of it. And alright, let's just do it. Let's just use Artifacts. He's a good YouTuber. He's got loads of tutorials about this stuff. I'm just going to grab one of his things, change it up a bit. Let's see, use a Serum, turn oscillator B on, blah, blah, blah. Grab a random wavetable, move it a bit, bend plus minus is always nice. It does this weird squishy thing. I'll grab you and let's see what we got now. Record that in. Yes. Right. Dum -ba -dum -dum -bum. Octave up maybe. What's tricky? Boom boom, gap to you. Let's come in back here, check our pitch bends. Don't know why they're at 2, I always like them at 12. Ooh, at 13 apparently, no. So we can go up or down a full octave. Alright, come into here, MIDI, pitch bend. Oh, no, not press pitch bend. Right, boom, boom. This one up, boom, boom. This one down. It feels like it's choking up every time. I don't know what that is because we've just used the presets. Let's have a little look, see what's going on. So that's going to be quite a lot. Let's see what happens when we raise this guy up. Oh, you see LFO4 here, that's given us all of our work. Make that 2 bars. Got some cool stuff going on there. I'm just going to duplicate that whole thing. Control D, bam, 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 bam. Loop it up and chuck tons of effects on them. I'm not even going to think about what I'm doing. I'll just grab a drum bus. Erosion, that's going to give us some nice kind of distortion. OTT, good old favourite. Duplicate that. Put them both at 50, so we're kind of doing some parallel. Dirty. Filter delay, what we got, what we got, what we got. So we want the left and right to stay where it is. So no feedback to that, right? See, turn these guys off. Something that might be nice for here, let's group this, right click, create chain. This one's going to be our dry chain, nothing on it, and then our wet chain, auto filter. I'm only going to do this filtery stuff on the high frequencies. Probably get rid of some of those high frequencies in this guy. Boom. Just be careful of your crossover point that you're not completely destroying some frequencies. So this is 323, 420. So there's a slight overlap between them. Oh, I don't know what I just did there, Control Z. This one we'll call high, and then we'll knock that down by like 9 dB. I mean, it's a bit of a mess, but we love it. Any more? Any more for any more? Let's chuck a glue compressor on the end, see what we can do. Threshold down, makeup up. Soft clipper. Quick attack, long release. And then if you're ever unsure if what you're doing is good or not, this is why I use span, wherever it is. I swear I have a proper version of span somewhere. Voxengo span, there we go. All looks good to me apart from that 200 frequency. So grab an EQ8, frequency 2, 200, boom. See what we got. So we've got quite a nice flat frequency response there. This correlation meter down here, that's spending most of its time on the right, which means that we're pretty mono. That's what we want. You want stereo movement, but for big bass stuff, the majority of it you want it on that right hand side. So I hesitate to do any more, but I'm gonna grab an overdrive. I mean, I'm pretty chuffed with that. That sounds like a big old nasty thing. What notes were we using? Let's just double check. G1 up to an A sharp. Let me just go bump, Control R. Oh no, insert audio track. Resample. Solo. Record. Bam. Again, volume's a bit dicky, so we'll bring that up. Rename that G1 to A sharp. And then this is the worst bit. Think about what to call it. Call that other one Wobbly Boy. What's this? Rough stuff. Rough stuff will do. Come down here, open music, Neuro Bass Volume 2. Just drag it in. Rough stuff. Done. And if you want to get an idea what this will sound like in a track, if we grab that MIDI up to our sub channel up here, turn this one off, this one on. And then audio effect, auto filter, chuck it down here, and we just want to get rid of everything. 110, 80 maybe. Start at 110 and we'll listen to it with the sub. Sounds mad. So then what we're making here isn't necessarily like, oh, this is a loop we're going to use, but this is something we can cut up bits from and create new riffs or totally resample. So let me come back to Obi Music, no, Ollie stuff, bum, ba, bum, and in effects, bass, resample bass stage 1. So we've got a bunch of stuff here where we adjusting the highs, mids, lows of, which are basically splitting the frequencies. Adjust to dip any peaks, just any weird frequencies that are there. A bit of compression, and I'll span at the end. Delete that and replace it with the 64-bit, so I'm not using J-Bridge and wasting CPU. So let's come here, I'll drag it onto the next guy. And let's start from Control L to loop it. So we'll start with the highs, we'll open up span and we'll turn this off. you see correlation meter, that is central, which is quite good. It's not mono, it's not so out of whack that there's going to be phasing issues on this side. Nicely in the middle. Check our mids. I can't see anything really popping out as wrong to me there. Maybe a little extra at 400. Let's turn this guy on. Bam, 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 bam. This one, 400. Tighten that Q a bit. Widen that Q a bit. That's not too bad to me. And the bass. See that our highest notes, our loudest frequencies do seem to be around our G, which is our root note, and then here you can see the second fundamental, the octave G. So we don't really need to do much EQ. Let's see what this compressor's doing. Look at the overall here. I'd say that the highs are probably a bit high, and that's a bit of an extreme scoop in the middle. This big dip here is around where your snare drum's going to sit, maybe up there a little higher. So let's just say 200 Hertz, and we'll take a little more off of that. Yeah, there's a nice gap there. And I'd say the highs maybe a bit high, like they ramp up a bit quick. I try and aim for a fish, so you can kind of see the fish head down. I like to go down to like 200-300 and then up again at the tail, and then plop off there. So one thing we could do, set this guy to a steep one all the way down at 10, or let's say 15. Oh, or do 20 really, because the human hearing is from 20 Hertz to 20 kilohertz. So this stuff down here I might be able to clean up. And then I'll bring this top one volume down a bit. And then the sub one here is going, or the lower frequencies are being monoed all the way to 1. I could upgrade this and do bass mono, be the same thing. Just really making sure that that sort of this all the way on the right over there, slamming that you know, if you've got a big 15-inch subwoofer, this is going to kick through it. That's what you want. So let's do a quick before and after as well. It's a little bit quieter, but it's also sounds a little bit more controlled. And if you want to bring that loudness back, we can just bring the output. That sounds a bit more powerful to me. And then if this is something that you like, we'll go, yeah, we'll keep this actually. Ditch that old one. Here I'm freezing the track rather than the resampling we were doing. This is known as destructive editing or destructive processing, which I always do and probably shouldn't. it's just easier, isn't it? Right, Oiber music, there's rough stuff. We'll just F2 to rename, Control R, get rid of freeze, and we can just drop that in. Oh, now we've got both of them, so I'll delete that original one. Cool, that's a nice big bum ba bum. See you later. Right. So next up, we've done a couple of bass noises, a little bit of some risers. I'll do something else. We'll do something else. We'll do one more thing and then we'll leave. Bum 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 bum. Right, let's have another look through my samples and do something weird. Everything. Let's see what we got under like bang. That tambo's nice. That tambo is nice. Right, so let's do a bit of audio fudgery now. Grab this guy, and we're gonna warp. Actually, it's probably gonna be easier just to go times 2 times 2 times 2. Oh, you can't do it anymore. Control J, times 2 times 2 times 2. Can't do it anymore. Control J, times 2 times 2. That'll be long enough. Grab that warp point here, just drag it back so it's the right length of time. Volume, let's go to transpose, and we're just going to go like just some crazy stuff. Let's just do some crazy stuff. B, oh, well done, B, one of them. Let's go to the grain size, and it definitely sounded cooler when the grain size was lower. And then flux mod. It's not going to make much difference on this because I've stretched it so much, but let's do it anyway. Control J that to lock in everything I've done. Drop it down to a new one, and then we just press R to reverse it. Let's see what we've got now. Let's knock this whole one down 12. What happens if we group these two, put a vocoder on this channel and make it modulate external, and we're going to add a MIDI track. We'll grab an analog in. Oh no, let's do a wavetable because this wavetable is like Ableton's version of Serum. Pretty much, it's a wavetable synthesis. So we've got here basic shapes, but if you go to something like this, you can see you can go through your wavetable the same way you can with Serum. So add a MIDI, open it up, turn the loop off. Oh, it's all gone wrong here. Let's just try this again. Boom, one bar, womp, Control Shift M. Boop. G. And we're going to show automation for this guy. Go up and down. Ding 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 ding. I'm not too fussed about any of these right now. We'll just see what we get from this. Come here, audio from, and it's just called 36 wavetable. Bam. So let's see what we got. And then we're going to do the same thing we did before. Come to our pitch bend. Put this guy here, just drop a few of them in. Bump, 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 bump. Some up, some down. Some up, some down. Let's knock that out there because that's like your 4 bars. We'll go down and do a 2 bar build up. Okay, this happens when you mess around with MIDI, pitch MIDI a lot. You'll hear that first note wasn't the note it was meant to be. Basically the MIDI's got confused. So if you just put a little, do it even smaller than that, just to tell it to go back to normal. And that feels like it's not much, but that's got some quite nice movement in it. If we grab this audio track, set it to resample again, turn loop off so we get any tails, solo that one with that one, and let's go. So what was the note I chose? Probably a G. G, bam, ramp, G, pad. I don't really know what to call it. Again, I reckon that'd be nice stacked up. Make a nice kind of like that kind of poppy kind of pad. G pad, chord worthy. Call it that. And I haven't actually started making pads yet, so we'll come here, right click, new folder. Oibu, oh, if I could even spell. Oibu music underscore pads. I should probably also go rename volume 1. These are available on my Bandcamp. I've not put them on the Stonx Bandcamp yet, but we might do that. Collaborate mine and James's stuff all together and just put it all out there. So we've got this here, let's open it up, G-pad, boom, boom. So then if you did want to do something with this, you can grab a simpler or a sampler, whatever it is you prefer, grab it into here, set your root to be G1, and then I'm going to be lazy because I always am. Let's go MIDI, scale, C major, no, C major's boring. Dorian is a bit better. D Dorian. And here, got this. Down here, this end, there's started being some nice, that bit. Or we could go all the way, just take this front bit, set it to loop back and forth. You can hear it sounds like pads, but you've kind of got this jang, clang, it's kind of clankiness and these kind of other things going on. There's no reason why this couldn't turn into a bass either. If we were to grab it, let me duplicate again for the sake of it. Let's grab it, transfers the whole thing down an octave. Oh, I hope if I soloed it. Let's go down 24. Too much, but maybe if we go Complex Pro. That might sound nice layered again on top of itself. Duplicate, we'll set this one up to the 12. 12. And we've got this. And then let's duplicate this guy again. So we've got this middle one. I'm just going to rename it 7th. So it's minus 24, and we want it to be a 7th of the note. So we want to go up by 10. So 24 plus 10 is 14, right? Minus 14. So now that should give us this kind of weird gnarl. That gnarl dissonance. Maybe you want it an octave higher, so let's just go minus 2. Maybe actually that's still too close, so we'll go up another 12, so we'll go to 10. If you were to add a big G sub under that bad boy, it would probably sound fat. And let me grab the original pitch bend from here, open up U, bam, A, C, Control A, copy everything, Control C to copy it, select everything, then copy it, come back to our MIDI, open up MIDI, pitch bend, Control A, Control V. So now going to do the same thing again, audio track, boom, resample, you're the only one armed, everyone else is soloed, record. Rename G pad bass riser. It's kind of everything, but that's fine. Obi Music, Neuro Bass Volume 2, grab it, chuck it in here. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. So we've gone over a few different sound design processes, what I kind of do to fill up my sample library so that when I'm writing music I can just grab stuff, chuck it in, and not have to worry about the authenticity of creating your own sounds and making sure that it's very important to not rip off other musicians. You know, none of this bollocks matters. When you're writing music, you just have something in your head, you want to get it out. You don't want to have to worry about sound design. Is this bass going to be good enough? Maybe I'll have to change it later. If you do work that way and you think, oh, I'll just use these pads and change it later, be wary, because when you're writing music, especially this kind of producing on the fly, in the old days writing music and producing music used to be two very different things, but now if you're writing and recording and producing at the same time and you use a subpar sound, every other sound that you're going to try and tie into your song is going to have the wrong frequencies in because you've already started off on the wrong foot. That's not to say that it's totally screwed, and if you don't make all of your sounds first, you'll never be a good producer. That's not true at all. But for me, this is one of the ways that really helps split up my time when I can't be bothered to write music, or when I'm not inspired to write music. I just mess around with Ableton and try and find out some new ideas and new things. Most of the stuff I've showed you today is pretty standard on my go-to list of things to do, but sometimes you just come across something nuts. I'll show you here quickly before we go. And some of my basses, some of these guys, I don't even know what I did. Have a listen to this one. So yeah, bunch of crazy noises. You can hear them on Squid Funk, track 3 of my new EP, which is released tomorrow, April the 1st. But something like that, if I was writing a track and I went, oh, I want this really cool bloopy thing, if I hadn't made that already, I would have either spent 2 or 3 hours trying to figure out how to do it, or ended up just going on freesamples.com or something, free sound, and trying to find something that someone else has made. So I really highly suggest this technique of sound design separated from music production, and just have some fun. It's not all about being the best musician, the best producer, getting the best sound. It's just about getting what's in your head out there, guys. So hopefully you learned something. Tune in again. We're going to try and do these hopefully every day or every couple of days, at least for an hour, and who knows, maybe next time we'll be doing a full session writing a song, or maybe going through one of our other tracks. We've got a few tracks on the go at the moment, so you might catch us working on one of them. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This has been Stonx Music. I've been Ollie in Studio 2, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.